Well, the pandemic hit many families hard, and some of you are still trying to dig out of debt. So what are your options? NBC4 I-Team consumer investigator Randy Mack introduces us to two women who took an extreme but increasingly common step to eliminate their debt and start fresh.
Food lines we see at pantries don't just tell a story of hunger. Most people wouldn't be here if they could afford not to, which means they have other debts, like Bonnie Autry.
Then I'm, awake at night. What am I going to do?
Bonnie got divorced. The pandemic hit, and she struggled using credit cards to try to pay down a loan.
Every time I did that, I would think for that minute, oh, I did it. I can make it to next month.
Before she knew it, she owed $40,000 and was in danger of losing her home.
A couple years ago, I was in an automobile accident.
Huge medical bills, a student loan, and credit card debt had Danielle Johnson, a single mom of three, drowning in $110,000 in debt.
Finally, I thought I was at a point to where I was good, and then the pandemic came.
Her hours and salary were cut. Danielle and Bonnie both decided to file for bankruptcy.
A fresh start and a clean slate.
Attorney John Sarai specializes in bankruptcy. He says there are two types of individual bankruptcy. Chapter 13, where you can reorganize and pay off debt, and Chapter 7, where you can liquidate some assets, but debt beyond basic living expenses like rent, mortgage, cars, and insurance are dismissed. Sarai says new law allows homeowners to exempt a significant amount of home equity from the bankruptcy process. Equity is the value of your home beyond what you owe on your mortgage.
People that have up to $600,000 worth of equity in their homes can now file a bankruptcy without fear of losing their home.
It saved Bonnie from foreclosure, eliminating $40,000 in debt.
Is your life ruined as a result of this, or is it better?
I would say it's better. I mean, I don't have that loan payment that I could never really afford.
It feels like I can breathe. It's the best feeling.
For Danielle, it's a $110,000 weight lifted. Both say financial literacy classes required by bankruptcy court have helped them. Chief financial analyst for Bankrate.com, Mark Hamrick, agrees bankruptcy can be like hitting reset on your finances.
That could ultimately be a better option than failing to pay on your debt, which can have dramatically negative long-term consequences because it damages your credit record.
For new creditors, would rather see a bankruptcy and zero debt on somebody's credit report as opposed to a whole bunch of unmanageable debt and no bankruptcy.
Both women report credit scores above 600 and say they're receiving credit card applications daily. Their advice, if you're in that food line now, think about the future you want and research bankruptcy as a path to get there.
Don't be ashamed to go find out the information. That's what I did.
Get ready to feel better about your life.
You can only file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy once every 8 years, and if you don't qualify, you can always work with your creditors to try to make payments, come up with a negotiation to pay down some of that debt, or get credit counseling. But the most important thing to remember is that a bankruptcy should not ruin you. In fact, lenders are going to be understanding. They know what's happened during this pandemic to people financially. Reporting live in Chino Hills, I'm Randy Mack for NBC4 News.
More great